So today I'm not having the best of weather. As you can see, it's raining. I really want to get this section done because then I want to put the brake booster back on, bleed the brakes, and then I could probably move the car to somewhere more inside where the rain won't get to me. So what I've done for now is I'm going to be replacing this part here. Now I'm going to be cutting the section out of it, shaping the metal to it first, cutting the section out, and then welding the new piece. Now I'm going to be doing piece by piece. And the reason being is because I don't have new panels. I just have to make it as I go. And everything here is so weak that I can't weld onto it. So I'm going to do a bit of a section here, weld that, and then do another section, weld that, and then until I get rid of all this rust here. I've already cut the piece of metal out and shaped it. How I shaped it is just, I put the piece of metal on there and just start tapping it into place. As you can see, it all lines up beautifully and it follows the shape of the whole panel. So yeah, I'm going to just trace that out on the rusty metal, cut it out and weld it on. And then that section will be good. After tracing it, I've made the cut. Need to do a little cut on the top there, but I think I'm just going to wiggle this metal up and down till it cuts off. And then yeah, and then I'll weld the new piece. Oof. As you can see, I still got some gaps to fill, but nothing too big and nothing I can't really handle. So now, if you're wondering about the internal metal here, all this rusted part inside, I'll be doing that from inside the car. This is just the outside area. All this part underneath will be replaced with the inside floor plan. So for now, we'll just work the outside, make sure everything here is prepped, put the brake booster back on, then we'll be able to move the car to a less wet area. I just cleaned it out a little bit. As you can see here, this is very rusted. This is the internal metal. This is a lot thicker metal than this outside stuff. I will be using stronger metal on this area, but of course the outside part is just sheet metal. I'll do this outside part first, and then I'll worry about the inside later. The metal is cleaned and in place. The metal around it also cleaned, all in position and ready to weld. Alright, the top section is all welded, as you can see. Now, of course, I haven't done this bottom part because this is all still rusted. So all of this metal still needs to be replaced underneath here and everything. But for now, this top part is done. I'm going to cut this piece out now. Probably make it as big as this. Come all the way across here. And then up. And then just weld all that. And then I can clean this area up, put primer in it, and then that area should be done. Alright, the next piece. Of course, I'm going to cut out all this section here. And around here, I'm going to make a bend here so then I can weld this again like factory with the spot welds. And yeah, and I've already made the template cutout out of cardboard. There you go. And this is how it's going to look. And as you can see the curve there, which is going to go into the actual frame rail. If you look right there, you can see there's a hole there. So I want to get rid of that. So I'm going to grind this. I'll cut this section here, but this grind it down. And then cut it around here, up around this, across here, and then straight up. And that's exactly what this shape is right here. Just like that. And then of course all of that will be welded. It'll be strong metal and it'll look good. So here we go. Alrighty, cut out the piece of metal. As you can see, the metal underneath is also very rusted, but of course, like I said, we're working the outside first, and then we'll cut out the inside. For now, I'm just going to clean up all this area and get it ready to weld a new piece. Alright, I've made the piece. Now, if you're wondering why did I make the piece in such a... It's because this has a very complex shape. And I don't have all the proper equipment to make these type of shapes. So I cut them out, make it easier to bend, like these. And I weld it all together. No gaps, and then it all will look like factory. Especially once I grind it down and make it all look smooth, it will all look like factory. The piece is all prepped. I've even done the few holes there to make the spot welds. And now we are ready to weld it up. Alright, and there we have it, all welded in. There's a few places that I weld through. Metal is so rusted and thin, but I can't fill them in. But I'm having trouble seeing now because it's beginning to get dark now. So with the mask on, I can't see anything and I don't really have a light. So I'll have to leave it there for now and I'll continue again next week. But she's looking good and she's solid, so I'm happy with this. Now if we look here, I've grinded down all the welds and it's looking a lot smoother now, but I still have a couple of holes I need to fill in as well, and still grind down this section here, and I forgot to weld here, so I need to weld this part up, but everything else looks nice. As I was cleaning up the area as well, I found underneath all this seam sealer another rust hole, so I'm gonna have to replace all this piece here as well. So I'll get that done, weld up these little holes, weld up that little section there, and then grind it down again, and then put it all on the primer, maybe sand this area down here to make it look clean, sand this down, maybe weld up these little holes so then it's filled up as well. That should be good from there. And then that section I can start putting on the outside cover on it. As you can see, I decided just to cut out a square shape instead of hacking the whole shape of the body line. Just been easier to do, you know, so I'm going to clean this area up a little bit, fill it up with weld, put some primer or something underneath so then it doesn't rust, because this part was actually okay. It's just further down where it's all beginning to rust, and then put the plate on top. We'll see how we go, whatever's easier, huh? She's all welded up and now ready for a bit of a cleanup, and then I'm going to spray some primer and that will be all for today. Looking good, huh? And there you have it. This whole section is now done and it looks beautiful. I'll probably get a little finger sander and get all that later. You know, it's not really important right now. All of the inside here, it's all on the primer, and it's wet primer, so you can't touch it. That's how she looks now. Right here, there's still a bit of rust, which I will cut out and replace, but not today. I ran out of time today, so you can see the shape is perfect and it's all fresh, brand new metal. I've hit a bit of a dead end on this section here because right underneath here, you got that material, technically like the sound deadening inside, and it's right on this side. And since I haven't pulled out the interior, because I'm still looking for a place to store everything, because I don't really have any room here, as you can see. Only thing I can do is just work around it, so I have to wait until I find some space so I can take out the dashboard and then clean up all the sound deadening from the inside, and then I can cut and weld this area. And then once I do that, I can start pulling that panel back on all along here. So while I'm waiting for that, what I'm doing is just welding up some cracks that were all on the front here on the bumper support, cleaning up, putting primer on it so then it's cleaner, because you can see it's pretty dirty. Plus, I'm also taking it down to bare metal because from the looks of it, this car has been a few different colors already. I mean, if you look under here, you can see this purple. There's purple underneath, and then there's white, and then there was some other color underneath, and then there's rust. I'm going to clean all that up, primer what I can, and eventually I will get onto cutting that little section out, putting a new piece of metal, so then I can put the whole, what's it called, wheel well, or I'm not sure what it's called, but then I can put all that back on. Just a little before shot. It looks like on both sides, a bit old, rusty, and dirty. I'm going to be cleaning all this area up, putting primer on it and leaving it like that until I get it ready to weld on. As you can see, these parts here will need to be replaced. All of this will be cut out, and once it's welded on the body, put onto the body, I'll be able to make new pieces to match the original, and then it'll look a lot nicer. So I'm halfway there, but I'm going to stop now because I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. It's getting late and mosquitoes are coming out and they're making me their big feast. So that's enough for today. I'll continue again next time. Continue pulling this apart. Just want to take a quick video of how all the buttons go. So that one you have that, I don't know what that is, but I'm pretty sure that one's the headlights. This one, I do not know, but it rotates and it's there underneath the speedometer. Then this one, it looks like the hazards. Must be the hazards. I don't know what that button does. Yeah, it's there. And that's underneath the selector and the clock. Here you got the oil pressure, temperature, fuel gauge. Underneath it, you got the key. And next to it, you got these things. The cigarette lighter. The key, dashboard, nothing but rubbish inside. And the air vent. Which one? This one's already missing the little chrome surrounding bit. The other one already fell off by itself. Put it on the back there. But then there's a chrome bit on it right there. And that sits on the driver's side over there. Just to revise when I put it back together. The instrument cluster actually just pulls out just the mental notes. That speedo. This one is for the gear selector to let you know what gears it's in. This one is just the only plug that's back here, so it shouldn't be too hard to remember that. This one must be the oil pressure gauge, so if I pull this out, it should have some oil behind it, I'm pretty sure of it. And that's pretty much it. So I'll pull these apart and then we'll go from there. I don't know what this is, it's just sitting by itself. For more reference, underneath the dash here, I have this little bracket that's been held on by these two screws, and then these two wires, this is a black and a red, are both negatives, both earthed out here. This one, the red one, it's running to this relay here, just there. And then this one is in the wiring harness. Taking a note of this because when I put it back together, I'm going to be thinking that this is a positive, this is a negative, but they're actually both negatives. Held on by this little bracket here, which is unscrewed like that. held on with these 2 screws. So I'm not having much luck removing all this wiring, or the dash even, because all of this is actually one metal piece and it's connected all to the actual body. I was trying to remove this, but I'm having a bit too much trouble with it. I can't get the air vent off, but everything else is loose, so it can come off, but it's no point when this is still a solid piece to the actual body of the car. So I tried to remove the wiring, and all I've managed to do is just release 2 bolts here, and just move a few things out of the way. But then there's a cable tie at the top that I can't really reach, so I'm having a bit of trouble there. Anyway, the reason I'm trying to get to all that is because there's all this sound deadening behind the part where I want to weld. So I've managed to get most of it off just by scraping it off by hand. So I'm going to still try cut out that piece, see if I can weld it together, spray some primer on it, and then just continue on with the front stuff. I'll get to the interior part when I get to it, actually. And there we have it. The little section now is repaired. I can actually weld anything onto this section. It's nice and solid. I'm going to put some primer on it so I can protect it. And then I'll start working the outer panel. This side can be finished. Glad I got this done because for some reason my welder started beeping at me. I don't know what it means, but I guess I'll read the booklet and find out. I'm not a professional welder. I'm just doing this because I love working on cars. Extend my skills as much as I can. Yeah. So welding is one big part of automotive. So I'm going to practice, get better, and love what I do. Since all the body is now strengthened everywhere, we are going to start working on this outer panel, and we're going to repair this inner part. You can see I have it sitting just in place. It all sits nicely, lines up perfectly. So now what I'm going to do is get a template, make it exactly the same using cardboard, cut it out, and then cut it into a piece of metal. And then once I have it into metal, I'm going to shape the edge on this side, fold it down, so then it follows the original curve that the rest of the body has. We'll do that first, weld the piece on, and then continue on, yeah? So here's the piece we need to replace, and here is my cardboard cutout. Now as you can see, I'm following the lines along here as much as I can, and also the line at the top here. Now of course I'm going to cut out a straight piece, and then use the hammer and dolly to curve this down a little bit, just to create this curvy edge. Then I'll be able to weld it, and then once I weld it, I'll start making this piece just to do the spot welding along the rest of the body. It's hard to do this one-handed, but so it's just like that. I need to make this cutout fit the brake line, but that can be done anytime, and it's really easy. Start with this, and then continue on, huh? So here is the cardboard cutout, and there is the metal cutout. Now it's just a matter of testing to see if it fits. Need a bit more trimming, but almost there. Smooth out the edges a bit, and that should be about it. I've shaped it up. I've rounded the edges off to make the curvature match the curves here. So then I can put the little extra inch here in order to do the spot welds. I can drill the holes and do the actual spot welds. Now, of course, I still need to cut out this hole here for the brake line. So I'm going to leave that open like that, feed the brake line through. I will sit this panel on the actual body of the car, draw a line onto where this part is supposed to be welded to. So then I can cut all this out and then know how far down I need to have this part welded on. It's a slow process, but it's all happening. It's all coming together nicely. I have made the cut, and I've tried to line it up as best as I can. I only have one G-clamp, unfortunately. And now if I just try and put this in here, we're a little bit short in some sections. So there we go. Like that. So then, yeah, as we can see, we're still a bit short in some places, but there's nothing but a little bit of extra welding can refill. Once we do a couple of tacks here and there, then the rest we can just bend more metal into shape, and then put it all up together, and then it should be good. Of course, as you can see, there's still a bit of a gap here, but then if you look all the way around, there's still a bit of a gap, so it can be pushed in a bit more. But for now, to tack it in place and start creating the little tabs where we can do the spot welds, I will continue on. I'm about to weld that piece onto here. I found another vice grips, that's my one, and a G-clamp, and I'm using this just to push it up into place. As you can see now, all the spot welds line up everywhere. So yeah, so now I can actually just tack weld this bottom piece underneath in there. I'll probably tack weld it all around as well, so then I can continue to put it back together and then remove all of these G-clamps and everything like that, just so then it's all lined up properly. I have made a few tacks just to hold it in place, like there. Now I'm going to get the hammer and dolly, get them as close to each other as possible, the whole metal piece, and then weld it all together. I've welded it from the outside. Now don't judge my welding, they're pretty big holes I have the feeling. Once I've got it from the outside, I'm going to re-weld it again on the inside, and then grind the back side of it, and then grind the inside. So then I get enough weld on both sides, filling all of the gaps that they have, and then grinding it down, make it look neat again. It should be really good. Now I'm going to pull it off to do the rest, because I don't need it to be on there anymore. Got the actual angle going on here. I need to hammer this side down a bit though. Like that, then hammer this part up, but then that can be done when it's on the actual body. I've welded the new part underneath section where I'm going to be doing the spot welds. For now, I'll just pull it off, finish welding all of this. I need to clean more on the outside actually, because I'm getting, well, bad welds because of this rubber stuff that they put on the outside. So yeah, I need to grind all that down, clean it all up, and then continue welding. So yeah, I'll pull this piece off now and continue on off the car. And there we have it. It's all welded in place on both sides. Of course, I'm gonna weld it on both sides because I want to grind it down and make sure it looks smooth like factory. So then after this, I'm gonna give these more a bit of a bend, make sure they're into place, and then weld the extra tab and then done. Alrighty, all the shaping is complete. I just need to do the little extended tabs on the bottom so I can do the spot weld, make it look like factory again. Grind down all these welds, make it look factory, put primer on it, and then this side should be done. Alright, as we can see here, I have cut some strips. So then I can just fill on all these sections. So then we can do the spot weld like this. So I'm going to do all this side here on the bottom and then probably replace this part and do the same. And then we can just weld it all back together. Now, of course, these are going to get grinded down, make it smooth, but I don't need to yet. So I'm going to leave it till last. After that, this section should be pretty much done because this is only one section. Still got the other side and I've got the whole body and still a lot of work. Now, as we can see, I have it all tacked in place, just tacked. I still need to finish welding it all, filling up all the open areas, and then I'll have to trim it down to match the rest, and then drill the holes. And once I've done, of course, once I finish welding it all, I'm going to tap it, make sure it sits flush on the actual chassis rail. It'll look a lot neater. If we look at the inside, all even line all the way across. Oh, except maybe this part. Oh, interesting. That can be done later anyway. But yeah, all along there, the gap is perfect. I'll finish welding it all up and then we start doing the cutting, grinding, making it look smooth. I still have this part to do, but this is minor issue, so. Now we're completely welded all the way across. Got a bit messy in between there, but gonna get grinded down. Now I'm gonna reshape it, cutting it to the same width as this, so I can drill the holes and do the spot welds. I've tapped it all down. It's also in flush. I've trimmed it already, so it kind of flows all together now. This is a bit thick, but yeah, I don't know, I prefer it that way. So now I'm gonna drill the holes for the spot weld, weld it up, put primer on it, and that'll be it for this. Oh, for this section here, of course, inner structure. And then we have to repair all this outer structure. I've got the piece here in the car still because I need to get more metal. So once I get more metal, I'll shape it up and then replace all of this. Alrighty, I have drilled all the spot welds, ready to be welded in. Put primer in between the metal so then it doesn't rust in between where I've already done all the work. Weld through primer, of course. Now I'm just going to do a couple of tack welds so it holds all into place, and then I'll be able to weld it all in one go. So here we go, let's get started. Huh? And there we have it. It is all welded up. Now this area turned out a bit uglier than expected. The gap was a bit too big, so it kept on blowing holes through. Just had to fill it up and do a bit of stitch welding along the bottom here. Now it's all good. Everything else turned out perfectly fine. This part was a bit annoying as well because the inside full of dirt and everything, so it kept on coming through and making the welds look ugly. Now I just need to grind it all down, make it all look smooth. This section will be done.